Laser Kitten slash Squad Bazooka Puppies, all very, highly touted rosters, looked good and everything, but Shax has been a phenomenal performer. We saw Shax primarily taking up, some Junkrat slots as well, where Visibility is now filling. But, I'm really looking forward to this because I think this is a good opportunity to see what some more players are capable of as we're seeing substitutions coming through. And Nesh is a guy that I've been kind of looking out for, and I'm glad to see that he's going to have an opportunity to shine here on this map here on Junkertown with the Widowmaker.
And what a way to open up, especially since he will be getting that first blood kill onto the opposing side. Sharp, the first one to go down, means the rest of his team needs to regroup for now, and things are already looking good here for Orgless and Hungry. Visibility charging up that Riptire, looking to get that one as quickly as possible. But next is gonna get a kill onto Finzi. And we do see overall the offensive side having obviously a respawn advantage when it comes to walking back towards said objective. And the rest of Orgless will, as a result, look to regroup. But ooh, we'll see Tonic caught a bit by his loads himself, but nice charge on the opposing Reinhardt would not be good enough, as 2 kills will still go over in favor of Squid. Wow. And as they take another one onto Nesh, Squid definitely looking much better now after that first kill.
It's just it's such a tough matchup to be going up against a guy like Sharp. He's young, he's talented. He's a guy that we're going to be talking about for a long time, as I think he's only 16 years old right now. Clearly a lot of room to grow as well, but Nesh going to be able to silence that Widowmaker. Now they're going in. It's going to be Decod laying them on the floor as he charges back through, trying to find something, but he gets counterpinned by Tonic, and that's huge because now it's a big opening for the defense off of the pick of Sharp from Nesh to make a stop here. They make a hold, and with the infra side up, they're going to be able to stall out that kill on Nex, who's trying to make his way off the map, and finally they do kill him, but even more time taken off the clock in the process.
And with the infra side good to go over on the side of Nesh, doesn't mean that Sharp will be having to play a little bit more defensively overall. We'll see the Graviton good to go, however, for Finzi, and with that ultimate alone, it could very well stop the opposition from getting that first checkpoint in. We'll see most of them trying to go for an angle. Visibility also good to go with the Riptire, should manage to stay alive and go ahead for the cast. However, Sound Barrier will be used, coming out of Evokia, and no kills on either side so far. Sharp will manage to find the Riptire, however, and with that particular find, can they get a team fight win? Tonic answers with one into Decod. Self-destruct is not going to find anything out of Nex. They'll continue to swing away. Graviton is finally going to come out. However, the defensive side good to go with that Sound Barrier. It's going to keep them alive for a while, but Sharp gets Nesh off of that high ground. Coalescence will be popped by Abs as he will get a call to Valence, and now with the Earth Shatter coming out of Tonic, he gets Evoke, and even though Sharp is still left alive, Decod swinging away, getting Tonic in the end. It should be overall Orgless and Hungry still holding.
I don't think I've casted a single tournament where I've seen so many Gravitons just eaten up by Diva Matrixes, because again, it happened. Ooh, what am I, 3? Anyways, Finzi was the one to fall flat on that one. He has another one charged up after that very long extended fight, which again favors the defense here of Orgless and Hungry, but just another time where one of those got gobbled up and the defense matrix was holding throughout, and now we'll have to see if it's going to be Nex gobbling up another. Not going to be the case. Graviton goes down. The Riptire follows. D-Suits Nex takes down Decod. That's going to be surging forward. Orgless and Hungry finding more kills for themselves. Again, trying to lengthen the rate of time that it takes for them to find that last kill. They'll find another onto Sharp as well, as he was going to be just jumping off. But Tonic went ahead, found himself just a little bit of extra ult charge. But 7 seconds remaining. That means that we're going to see some aggression from Decod as he tries to get in there, but he's very low on HP. Can't even make it. They swing. Tonic finds the kill. Nobody on the point. And wow, a first point hold from Orgless and Hungry.
Definitely looking way more impressive compared to their last performance versus Eagle Gaming. However, I do think when it comes to Anubis, maybe they've kind of given up once it came down to their offensive, or rather defensive side. And this time around on Junkertown versus Squid, looking on point, looking on fire. Even Nash popping off on the Widowmaker. Did go down to Sharp a couple of times, but I believe it was only once or twice. So overall looking strong, and now that we will be swapping over sides, if you are Squid, what is really the best take here? Because You have to hold on to that payload. You got to go for the full first point full hold, and we've seen quad tank compositions do it in the past. We've seen even, I believe, Piece of Cake managing to pull that one off with 1 minute remaining, and barely did it too with somewhat of a dive comp. So now that we're looking again towards that Squid lineup, it is going to be a mirror comp, and it's not too surprising. However, we could see actually, no, never mind. I thought we might see some Hanzo play. Considering it's Tonic, he's probably just going to use it for that Sonic era to scout things out.
Yeah, if he even sticks with it at all, he might just be jumping around the base too. But I think the thing that's interesting here is that Epps is currently on an Ana, and it's actually quite possible that he winds up sticking with this. And why I find that interesting is because it has pick potential with the sleep dart. You have denial of an aggressive tank hold by being able to just biotic grenade out. You have a ton of extra healing for your team, especially Cruz, to get an early sound barrier, and then keeping your tanks alive, your rest of your mid line alive, and then of course denying the enemy tanks of having that healing. But he's instead going to go over to the Moira, and that's going to be probably a safer pick, given the fade, given what Moira can do, a little bit of extra damage, suppression as well, and Sharp with the opening first pick on this Widowmaker. Again, someone to look out for, but there's just so much time here. If Squid makes any mistakes, they will lose this map.
But Sharp still on point on that Widowmaker, looking for those heads, looking for those kills. Will be, however, the rest of Orgless and Hungry regrouping for now. Sharp still looking for an angle up high, doesn't get anything done. We'll see Visibility already getting close to that Riptire, towards halfway rather, at 51%. And slowly but surely, with this slow push coming out of the offensive side, they're trying to build some distance. However, Coalescence will be used by the likes of Veinless, looking to push them away eventually. But so far, it's looking actually so good for Orgless and Hungry, as they will have the Coalescence of their own. Nash is going to be able to find Veinless and a big pick at that. And Decod, Earthshatter comes through, but only one kill, and with one in return. Make that a quad, actually, now, as they will manage to find all the kills in the world. Will be Orgless and Hungry pushing through.
And as they come back in, Tonic's going to have that Earthshatter. They're going to have so much control available. Cruz will have a sound barrier. Evokia will have one as well, but they're going to have Graviton. I mean, there's just so many options for Orgless and Hungry now, and we're going to have to see some aggressive play coming out from Squid if they want to be able to make this hold happen. Already, huge snipe coming out. Graviton comes down, Fire Strike in it. They can't even get on the point because of the position of that Graviton. And wow, Squid will be denied, and we will see Orgless and Hungry take a quick 1-0 on this first map.
And somewhat surprising, considering the fact that Orgless and Hungry did seem a little bit shaky in their last series. Definitely coming out on top of this one so far, as they will be taking 1-0 lead. And we will be returning soon enough with Hanamura to see whether or not Squid can equalize it and just stick to their name of those comeback kings. But don't go anywhere.
And we are back at the analysis desk, probably faster than most of you have expected. A very clean match by Orgless and Hungry. They did seem very dominant. It feels for me like that Sharp was the only guy playing on a Squid lineup. He was getting entries on defense and offense, and I feel like the other DPS Cranks in this instance, he didn't really deliver.
We've seen him in the past that he can definitely deliver on the likes of Genji, but so far I gotta say, I have to agree, when it comes to his Junkrat, not really on the same level with the opponents that team really has to face. And now that we're gonna be moving on to Hanamura, Squid really being the comeback kings with those assault and control maps, we'll be curious whether or not they can pull it off again, because when they were with Graceful, one interesting thing when it comes to Hanamura is the fact they played Sharp on the McCree and Graceful on the Reaper when it comes to the defense. And they played it really well, so now that they're going to have Cranks on that lineup, I don't know whether or not they're going to do the same thing or they're going to bring something new out.
I would like to see Cranks on Genji. I think he can do very well on that hero. And also when they were playing with Graceful, they were using sometimes Pharah on this map, which did seem to work quite well, I'd say. Now, do you think we are going to go to a third map, or this is very tense for Squid?
It's definitely very tense for Squid, I gotta say. Things, as said, are not looking too hot. But hey, if there's somebody in the tournament that can do it, it's probably them. They've done it 3 times in their group stage, so hey, why not a 4th?
So we've seen a lot of snowball on this map, so to say. We've seen a lot of overtimes. Do you think one of those might happen this time?
I mean, it's just the name of the game when it comes to these assault maps. You generally have it one way or the other, and with those snowballs, it's gonna be most likely the outcome here when it comes to the offensive side, but time will tell.
The match is ready. Let's go.
Attackers incoming in
Jumping into Hanamura here. I'd be interested to see if Cranks actually pulls out a Doomfist, because it's something that we've been seeing a lot more lately, especially since Hydration pulled it out on Dorado. But you often see it paired with a Widowmaker. It even happened pretty recently in an NA tournament about 10 minutes ago that we don't need to talk about, but you know, people probably know what I'm talking about. But it is something that we have seen a little bit kind of coming back a little. And especially for, you know, stalling points out, trying to regain momentum because it has that pick potential on an objective. Looks good as well. But of course, on the attacking side to start things, especially given the fact that they don't have a Widowmaker, which is often when you would see it, especially on defense, that's not going to be the case. We're going to instead see Cranks going over to the Genji, which means that they're going to be going with a dive instead. And it's going to be a dive with Moira as opposed to the Zenyatta that you would typically see. And they're already jumping in, looking to try to suppress these tanks. Finzi goes down early.
And it's gonna be the first kill to open things up here for Squid, but Facility answered with a kill of his own onto Decon and making it a 5v5, and so far no ticks achieved. Some split aggression is coming out of the offensive side, with Sharp still lying on the sides, but now still Veinless managing to find Cruz. Could be the enabling kill for this team, but Coalescence being ready to go for Epps might not make it, as Sharp is going to be able to find a huge double kill off of the Pulse Bomb, and now that the Dragon Blade is ready, good to go for Cranks. It's going to be the Sharp show, actually, as he will find that 3rd kill. Only D.Va left on point, and Squid definitely looking much better when it comes to their offense here on Hanamura.
I said it before, we're going to be talking about Sharp for a long time, and as this guy is only 16 years old, obviously has a bright future ahead of him, playing very well throughout Overwatch Pit, has really kind of shined, I would say, especially on the Tracer, but has really had a couple of opportunities, a couple opportunities to look good on the Widowmaker as well. We've seen a lot of good looks from him on that particular character. Really looking forward to seeing what the future holds for this guy. But now it's Squid moving in, already diving into the backline here. Anna going to be biotic grenading himself as Cruz is backed into the spawn. Facility fell, though, unfortunately, because of that play. And Squid is all over the place, looking to bounce back from an unfortunate round on Junkertown. And boy, are they having such a good time with it right now, as well as, again, Cranks just controlling the site for these guys.
Definitely, as you said, a much better time, and now the primary is going to come out of Decod. Will look to push the opposition away. Only Nesh left on the point on that Tracer, now supported by Ebbs. But it is going to be 2 ticks already achieved. Nesh answering with a double kill could potentially finally make a good hold for this team, as Finzi gets the D-suit onto next. Cranks gets a dash kill onto Ebbs, does have the blade, but can he find the kills? The answer is no. Cruz getting the best of him on that Anna, and finally we will see Orgless and Hungry stabilize on the point.
It's going to be very tough for them to hold out with what they have right now. 5.5 minutes. Only one tick needs to be capped now. Nano Boost ready for Cruz. He's nested himself in this back corner next to the spawn. You see this a lot on a map like Horizon Lunar Colony. It can work out quite well, especially when you have the support of Visibility on this soldier here as well, which is a big combination. Remember that Nano Visor is something that shaped the meta, you know, several months ago. So we'll have to see if he wants to pull that together once again. I imagine that's going to be the case, but we've also seen some Nano Boosts going over to Winston as well, and that's going to be exactly what we wind up seeing. Nano Boosted Winston comes through, finds the kill onto Evokio alongside Visibility, who doesn't even need the Tac Visor to find the first two. They will easily make the stop here. Nothing held, nothing sorted for the attacking side, and Visibility, big plays there on the soldier.
And of course, also really good discipline coming out of the likes of Orgless and Hungry, as they will have a lot of ultimates to go to work with, rather, in this next team fight, to just really make sure they stall this one out as far or as long as possible. Whereas on the offensive side, only really that post bomb good to go. We might see Coalescence alongside the sound barrier be ready and available soon enough, but overall, with so many of them online here for the defensive side, it's going to be a very tough task here for Squid12324.
And remember what a Nanovisor means to a Genji, too, as Cranks might pull that blade out. Visibility could potentially shut him down, or at least force out a... oh, they find the kill early, and Sharp goes over to one on the pulse bomb with Cruz. Squid opening the site up in a big way here. Now just need to shut down Nesh. They do that with getting back into the mech. We've seen 2 of those kills already in this tournament. And Sharp now continuing the fight on this Tracer, looking to try to shut down Cruz, who has swapped over the Doomfist. We saw him switch just to try to stall things out. This high ground now with Visibility, trying to turn the fight around, but Primal Rage Monkey gonna be able to take him out of the picture as well. Squid look poised to take this objective here.
We'll, however, still see Nesh on the point. Finally, is going to go down. Cruz coming back in as Doofus. Not going to get too much success. Eps going down as well. It's going to be down to Finzi and Visibility now on the mate to really continue to stall things, but eventually you would definitely see Squid taking this one. However, with Tonic, getting another kill is just so frustrating for Squid to secure this one, as Nesh is going to be able to find another one, this time on to Next. And without a Mercy inside, of course, Nose Resurrects will be available to help secure set point. And as the fight and the brawl still goes on, Coalescence is finally back up and available for Baneless, keeping their teammates safe as well as the opposition under fire. And now with Cruz again on this Doomfist, will look to contest him. Almost has Tad ultimate available. Cranks is going to find that target. Evoke did go down, however, and Decod gets a kill with that primary Sharp. Another D-suit onto Finzi as they continue to just desperately try to find that last tick they need. And with Primary still going down for Tonic, it's not going to be as easy as they think, as the return kill still going to happen. Cruz just does go down with the ultimate, however, and Cranks now with the blade will look to finally secure things. However, it's still not out just yet, Herix.
2 minutes on the board now. Orgless and Hungary still have their Tracer player in there, as well as the Doomfist coming down with that slam, but he's going to be taken out as soon as he comes back up by the Pulse Bomb. Tonic now going to be taken down. It's just a matter of time here as we're going to be seeing this last kill onto Epps. That will be that. 144. Finally, Squid secures it, but what a stall by Orgless and Hungary.
Really interesting to see Cruz actually stick to the Doomfist as well. I guess it's because he just got closer to that meteor strike, so he felt comfortable to go back to it. Didn't really find any kills off it, so not as flashy as you would hope, but overall, definitely a much better hold on that second point coming out of Orgless and Hungry. And now that we will be swapping over sides, I'm curious to see what Squid will choose to go for here on their defense. We did see Sharp pull out some heroic plays on that Tracer. We've seen Squid, as said previously, go for something like a McCree Reaper comp. So I'm really interested to see what they're going to choose. But if you're Squid, now you will have quite a bit of time to work with overall and just try to not only get those 2 points, but have a better time when it comes to that time bank.
I'm sitting here and I'm, questioning, are we going to be going into a map number 3? Because we did see Squid look quite good in that matchup there. But the stall from Orgless and Hungry was insane. I mean, that's insane. to see that kind of thing. 2CP, by the way, but I mean, still, that stall, you have to commend it a little bit there. I mean, for sure, because they were able to take so much more time off the clock. They've really set themselves up nicely now that, you know, if they create a similar situation to what we saw in Horizon Lunar Colony in the last series that we just watched, you know, they could easily create some momentum for themselves. They could easily walk in here with a tank setup, get some early control with Nesh backing them on some Tracer DPS if they decide that that's the option they want to go with. You know, remember that they don't have a D.Va here in this lineup. That, you know, it's going to be pretty interesting to see. They could take this very early on and set themselves up nicely for a quick take.
Attackers incoming.
And will be Cranks on the Soldier this time around over on the defensive side, with Sharp once again on the Tracer looking to continue on his performance when it comes to this map's defense. And overall now, we'll also, on the offensive side, have a look at Nesh trying to find an angle off from the side. It will be an all-out brawl, however, as both of these teams clash in the middle. Nesh is going to be able to pick up that first kill. Cruz finds the second one onto Veinless, and already Orgless and Hungry storming that first point.
Now we'll see Nesh cleaning things up on this Tracer as well. That's huge, and I really like to see that, because now with Orgless and Hungry surging from that last defense where they held very efficiently, they're looking forward to now trying to connect between Finzi and Nesh off of that combo where they can drop the Graviton, put the Pulse Bomb underneath it, and try to clean things up very quickly. But, you know, the more time that this goes on, the more time they give Cranks to be able to generate up that Tac Visor and use this high ground control, because there isn't a D.Va or anybody to contest him up on this high ground either.
Oh, but Abs did go down as he popped Coalesce. Is not really what you're looking for. And now Sharp taking a kill onto Facility with the Pulse Bomb, finds another onto Finzi. Cranks just zoning them out at this point with that Tac Visor, making Tonic's life quite miserable as he tries to desperately hold that barrier, or rather onto that barrier, and it will be eventually Squid holding on to the point. No ticks achieved, and as a result, some swaps will be coming out from the offensive side. And Facility now will be going on the Soldier of his own.
I still really would like to see a D.Va in this situation, because, you know, Finzi, Tonic, they have control with those ultimates that they could pop out, and I like that, but they still need something to be able to deal with Crank, suppress him, take the kill, and then go over to the point to lend some more control, where Facility right now is just going to instead try to take that duel. So this is going to be a little bit more of a back and forth type composition here, but they're going to engage very aggressively, I have to imagine, as soon as Veinless runs out of time with this Coalescence.
And of course, only having that bubble, that Winston bubble here for Squid means that Tonic might have a lot of success with Air Shatters. He's gonna go ahead and use it. Finds Nex as well as Veinless. However, Sound Barrier did keep him alive. Evoke caught into it. Nash picks up a double kill. Sharp gets one kill onto Finzi, but Finzi, of course, managing to use that Graviton before going down did make things a little bit easier for his team. But Veinless coming back with that Bio Orb is gonna be able to find Cruz and that engage in, as Sharp picks up another kill onto Tonic. Squid once again holding strong, and remember, no ticks achieved.
Yeah, that's huge, because twice now Orgless and Hungry engage, and they get a couple of kills for themselves. They open the side up just a little bit, but they're not able to secure it. They're not able to get enough of a foothold to just be able to start holding that point down, locking it out, and just start feeding from the spawns. And remember that, you know, at any point, it could be a potential stall tactic coming out from the defense of Squid, where, you know, they just got stalled themselves, but certainly they could do it right back. So now as Facility is coming back up, he has the Tac Visor. They swapped over to a dive setup, but they need to create space for this Soldier now. They need to try to take them off of the high ground, get those mobility skills off of the tanks, and try to make the most of this here.
And Self-Destruct is gonna look to display some out of said high ground potential advantage, as rest of that tank lineup from Squid will be able to find a good target onto Facility, as he did pop that Tac Visor, and it's a huge kill, especially with Cruz also going down. Some final staggered kills gonna go through, and Squid definitely looking to stall things as well here, making it more difficult for Orgless and Hungry. And the big problem, as said, is the fact that Facility used the Tac Visor. Going down into that fight now, we will only see the Self-Destruct be available for Orgless, whereas Cranks did have enough time to build the Tac Visor of his own, so can't really see how they're gonna take a team fight win to get this one rolling here for Orgless, especially since Sharp once again goes huge on that Tracer.
And Decon has been popping, you know, so far, I would say, really kind of creating a lot of space for his team to really make the most of it, especially Cranks. But Facility has gotten the kind of the worst end of the deal there, because on this Soldier, he's been denied outright since he's made this pick. And yeah, he's had a couple of opportunities to try to make something happen, but every single time it's been a tank just like thrusting themselves into his face. That time it was Sharp, but just so many answers to this Soldier so far.
And self-destruct was used, does assure that resuit, and now Crescendent's being used by Epps to potentially secure the team fight. Will prompt a sound barrier from the defensive side, as Cranks is still good to go with that tech visor. Is he gonna go for it? It seems like he is indeed gonna go for just that, but Finzi good to go with that Matrix. Is gonna be up in his face, denying him. However, overall it is 2-for-2 Facility eventually getting a kill onto Decod as well, as the rest of his team is going to look to regroup, but so much committed there for Orgless and Hungry. He's going to make things difficult as Sharp finds Facility with another pulse bomb kill.
And they just don't have anything right now. This has been so well defended by Squid, and Junkertown was very one-sided, I would say, to Orgless and Hungry, but now it seems much the opposite direction as Squid is holding out. And it's not even a stall. It's just outright dismantling of every single attack. Every single look that Orgless and Hungry has thrown at them has just been dismantled. And they've been ripping it all down. We're seeing Crank swap over to Genji, Facility matching him once again. And now with high ground control, Squid looking to try to take more time off the clock.
And with that Coalescence being popped by Vanley's, they're gonna go ahead and do just that, but now this leaves an opportunity for the offensive side. However, Nesh doesn't find anything with the pulse bomb, gets the D-suit onto next, so small advantage there as Decod should be forced out of that high ground, gets taken down instead. This could be the opening they needed, but already quite a lot of time ticked away, and as Sharp is still alive, didn't quite find a target either with the pulse bomb, and now Primal Rage will be popped by Tonic. Epps gonna go in with the Coalescence all the way from the back, and Decod coming it back in with a respawn. Sound barrier popped as well. Squid are still not out just yet.
Cruz needs to get the sound barrier up quick, or his team's going to start falling slowly to this respawn advantage. As Cruz does find a kill, Facility has the blade out, looking for more kills. They already have found one there onto Vaneless. Now demeching next. This is a big opportunity as Cruz finally gets that sound barrier up. They have that opportunity to make the most of it here. They might not even need it, but he'll probably pop it pretty soon regardless, and that's going to be that. Sound barrier comes back up to deny Cranks off of the blade. They still have control, but they need to keep people on the point here. They need to keep slowing these respawn times out as Cruz takes a ton of damage thrust off of the point. That's going to lose some healing now for the attack as Orgless and Hungry still looking to try to make a hold here, but it seems like Squid might be battling back, and they still don't have control on the point. Squid have managed to match them somehow, and we're seeing Cranks on this May look to start cleaning things up. Next with a huge self-destruct, 2 kills for him, and Squid now have battled it down to 30 seconds and 1 tick remaining. But what a play, what a stall by Squid.
And they, if you're Orgless Hungry, really need to make this one work out. Epps with that Coalescence, Finzi with the self-destruct Facility should have that blade. But it's going to be very close one here as Evoke, if he manages to stall things out and stay alive long enough, we've seen how all too important those defensive respawns can be. And with the sound barrier, it's going to be all too difficult here for the offensive side, especially since Cruz is going to be the first one to go down. Nesh answers with a kill onto Decod, with a second one to Vaneless. Can they do it? Facility now with the blade. It's going to get a kill onto Evoke. One big one at that. And it is going to be overall the members of Squid finally falling to this lineup of Orgless and Hungry, but Sharp still in it, still getting 1 kill onto Epps this time around. Does have the recall, but Nash with a big pulse bomb gets the double kill, and with the likes of Facility cleaning up too, they get it in the end, but man, was that close.
So no matter what here, given the time that we saw, they didn't get it below that 1 minute mark on their defense. So Orgless and Hungry now have, you know, basically we're going to see a map 3. It's decided at this stage, because either we're going to be seeing Orgless and Hungry fall and it'll be 1-1, or they'll somehow miraculously be able to tie it up. You know, it's certainly possible with 1:44 on the clock. You make a couple holds and that's that, and then you go into a game number 3. But either way, we will see a map number 3, which is going to be interesting because Control certainly is going to allow guys like Sharp and Nash to really go at it. We'll really have a good look at that kind of matchup between those two, especially on Tracer, which I really am looking forward to. But we'll have to see how we're going to go into that, what the context of that particular map 3 would be, whether it be a tie, 1-1, or tying this map, drawing it out, and then it's 1-0-1, where, again, Squid will be desperate to try to take that map yet again.
It's going to be really interesting to know that over on the defensive side, it will be that quad tank once again, whereas on the offense, we'll see them go for that dive comp as well. And looking at how successful they were last time, definitely not faulting them for opting in for that one. And we'll see DCOD eventually make the support from the Hanzo, I would suspect, as he does go ahead and use the Sonic Arrow finally. We'll be going over to that Winston and already contested on that chokehold. We'll see the rest of the defensive side here for Orgless and Hungry push forward. Look to make things very difficult for Squid12324, but Sharp already on the point, looking to divert their attention. Remember, it's only one tick that this offensive team needs, and any pick here is going to be huge.
Frank's deflecting a lot of that damage back towards Orgless and Hungry. They're playing it slow, and they want to do this here. They want to be able to try to create an opening for themselves before they dive in, so that they're not diving into a tank-heavy lineup with, you know, a significant disadvantage. They want to be able to open up with a big kill. Defense, though, really surging. Orgless and Hungry, I was going to say heavy for a moment there, but boy, are they ever with this tank lineup. You know, they are definitely looking like they're going to be able to make a stop here on this particular fight, but they need more. They need to be able to stop Cranks on the blade. They need to be able to deny Sharp on his pulse bomb as well. And those are two very difficult ults to try to avoid, or perhaps, you know, get away from, lessen the effect of, especially, I would say, Sharp on that pulse bomb.
When you have this quad tank lineup, you usually stay huddled up, grouped up, and it's gonna come down to whether or not that D.Va can accord that appropriate support. But Cranks finding the first kill off of the blade. Sharp gets another one at defensive. This could be the opening they need as Sonic finds a return kill, but overall member advantage still in favor of Squid as they look to secure this checkpoint. However, Facility answers with another kill onto next. DCOD now gets Epps in the end, trying to find more off of the Primal Rage. Tonic gets another charge kill onto Sharp, but it is going to be the kills overall still in favor of Squid. Looking to clean up house on this point. Evoke finding Facility there on that Lucio, and DCOD getting the kill eventually onto Cruz. Even though Nesh and Fenzi are still on the point, they will eventually go down, and then we will have a tie, making it a 1-for-1.
And in overtime, too, just shows you how close these teams have been battling together. I mean, that was really, really effective target calling, where they just focused down Epps and Cruz. They didn't have those supports in the fight. They didn't have their ults available in that fight either, so it was easy for them to be able to find those kills in the back line. We saw some sticks coming out right there. That's a big one early on, but that was not the overtime push, of course. But still, I would say Sharp has really shined so far. But we got another map now. That's going to be map number 3. It's going to be a control point, and we'll see you right after these commercials.
a different type of Squid in this one. Again, for me, Sharp was the MVP, the clutch player. He was killing Visibility with his pulse bomb, which allowed his team to stall on the second point. And also Cranks was doing way better now that he was when he was on Genji and Soldier instead of Junkrat.
Hey, you said you wanted to see some more Genji out of him, and there you go. As a result, they secured that equalizer, making it a 1-for-1. And hey, as said, they did it 3 times during the group stages, and seems like they might just do it a 4th.
Yeah, there is a good chance they might do it. I would definitely say that the pressure is now on Orgless and Hungry since they lost this one, and on Control, I would say that everything is kinda possible.
It is Oasis, so it might come down to the Pharah battles as well as the Tracer battles, and Sharp, so far looking on point, will make things very difficult for Nesh over on the other side of Orgless and Hungry.
Yeah, like last time they played Oasis, they had Graceful, and he was doing most of the work with Pharah, I'd say, and this time they have Cranks. We'll see if he goes with the Pharah and how he's going to basically utilize it. Now, what do you expect to see in this match?
Just as said, depending on which part of Oasis we're at, potentially a lot of Pharah. When we see a lot of Pharah, we could actually see some more Mercy. Once again, hooray for that. Of course, with the recent changes, less chaotic, less hectic overall with the bunch of resurrections, which we had in the past. But now, into this one, as said, a lot of Pharah potentially coming in here, and that could be the big decider.
It was also interesting to see in the previous match that at one point both of the teams used different support. We had Ana and Zenyatta on one side and also Lucio and Moira on the other side, and I would basically like to see that again. It made the game more dynamic, so to say. The match seems to be live. Let's jump right into it.
So as you guys were talking about on the desk, Graceful on these comebacks, especially when it involved Oasis. I mean, he was central to those comebacks. He was pivotal in a lot of those fights as well, especially on the Pharah. So not having him in this, it kind of might put a wrench, I would say, in what we're used to seeing from Squid in these scenarios with that 2-1 comeback after especially a Hanamura take as well. But now Cranks with the Junkrat. Of course, we're used to seeing the Junkrat in this kind of situation on this map here. But Nesh starting things off will deny Sharp. That's big because Sharp has been so strong in all these fights so far.
And we'll see Nesh with that kill, with another one coming from Facility, just push the opposition away. First point cap will go over in favor of Orgless and Hungry. And I do have to say, the little bit we did see Nesh this tournament on that Roadhog, they look really good, and so far already denying Sharp that opportunity to really open things up for his team. Made him already do a swap over to the Zarya, so triple tank mirroring each other's composition so far. Looking good here for Orgless and Hungry.
It's all about control. It's all about making sure that you have great positioning on your tanks, controlling that spacing here. A lot of energy for Fenzi right now. They're trying to get this Graviton up. This will be huge to try to get this down. It gets eaten up Fenzi for a second time. This series alone, Next just gobbles it up again.
Is it going to be enough? Self-destruct will be used onto the point. It's going to push the other members of Orgless and Hungry away. And now Facility coming in with the Riptide is going to find Invoke. However, Cranks did manage to find him in the side room with that kill. And we will see the return of Tonic coming back from down below with Earth Shatter. Makes it easy for Cranks. A good hook coming out of Nesh to really deny Decon of any other opportunity. And with that, Tonic's going to manage to find a kill and the D-suit off with the Fire Strike. And we will see Orgless and Hungry still holding out strong.
And on top of that, they also took the projected barrier out of play as well, because we saw Sharp try to secure Decod's life, but as he fell through it, I mean, it really didn't amount to much. Nobody was shooting at him, so then they didn't have the projected barrier to keep Veinless up. Now they're back down. They found a late kill onto Decod as he came back in, but here's the re-engagement. A very early Graviton Surge coming out. They don't find any kills inside of it, especially as Ept is helping them live through this coalescence.
So many ultimates used from the side of Squid, rather, and with those double kills coming out of Cranks, that might be the ones they needed, as we'll be getting over to 91% already being built up on the point. And even though the swap will eventually go back to Squid, considering the fact that they've lost so much already, one more teamfight loss could be the end of this first round.
Fenzi's high on energy now. has his Graviton Surge already. We can see a lot of cleave coming out from Tonic inside of it, and if that's going to be the case, that'll be huge for them to get even more control out of an Earth Shatter onto Decod, whose barrier is down dangerously low here. They won't be able to block this off. Earth Shatter denied by the shield. Graviton comes down, but they don't get everybody that they want in it. In fact, they don't get anybody in it.
And hey, he did at the very least get the cast off, but the Earth Shatter might enable those kills as Fenzi, alongside Facility, find the ones they need. They get the point, and as said, with 95% already on it, there's going to be Decod trying desperately to get back in there. Doesn't manage to do just that. And first round will go over to Orgless and Hungry.
And as we go over now to the second map, this is where things get even tougher. You know, when you look at the performances on these maps now, where, you know, Junkrat, his effectiveness might be lessened here on this kind of stage, where you typically would see a Pharah if you have a Pharah, if you win that matchup, if you know you have strengths in that department, like Graceful did, you know, that's where you really kind of shine. But now where, you know, Cranks is going to be on his role here instead. He's going to be going for a Genji. They don't have that same ability. So now it's going to be a totally different style of play from Squid, who are going to be looking to get very aggressive. They're not going to be stalling for time for Graceful to make plays. They're instead going to be diving into the back line, trying to put pressure onto the main tank so that it can create opening pockets for the flankers to start suppressing those supports, especially Epps. But, you know, because of the fact that he has the Pharah to bring him up into the sky, he's going to be quite safe.
And so far, we'll see Cruz be the first one to go down. Fenzi answers with a double kill, though, on that Diva, and Sharp, still returning fire, will get the kill onto Tonic and making it an equal fight on the point. And Epps being caught there means he does go down next, finding that kill. And with that follow-up onto Fenzi, getting the D-suit, it will be the first cap go over to Squid12324.
And that was actually phenomenal from Nex, because, you know, what we saw him do was actually bring Epps out of the fight initially. We saw an Epps up there with Facility as I was talking about that Mercy play. But as soon as that happened, as soon as I was talking about that, Nex just ran right into the sky, threw Epps off of the stage and then away from Facility. So Facility didn't have that damage boost. They didn't have that extra healing. Epps was denied a lot of ult charge on Valkyrie, and he was out of the fight completely. So when he tried to re-engage, Nex was right there ready to go again. Bursted Epps down on the Mercy. So really, really cerebral play from this Diva player for Squid.
And Sharp getting that kill onto Tonic did delay things a little bit here for Orgless and Hungry. Pulse Bomb's gonna go through from Nesh. Doesn't find any target. Sound Barrier was used as a result, however, coming out of Evoke, as they will look to push the opposition away. Cranks gets Epps in the end, and he does have that blade ready to go. We'll like to see him hold on to it for now. As said, it will be a team fight win once again, going over to Squid. And even though Facility is uncontested, doesn't really matter because the rest of his team is getting killed over and over.
Has the blade ready to go. They have Coalescence ready to go. They have Primal Rage. They have Pulse Bomb coming up shortly. Everything looking quite good for Squid right now. I mean, Sound Barrier might be able to deny one of those, but certainly won't deny all of them. And a stick from a Pulse Bomb won't really be able to be denied by anybody. That's going to easily find a kill for them. Now as Sharp gets ready, he has the Pulse Bomb looking for a stick. Throws it out, and it's going to take down Tonic. They already took down Cruz, who threw out his Sound Barrier as well, but that's going to be an easy cleanup, or should be rather, for Squid, but Nesh is going to deny that outright. He comes in, finds the DMAC, will find the kill onto Cranks as well, so now they just have Sharp to rely on for damage, and he's alone now on the stage trying to get something done here, trying to stall this out long enough for his team to get there, but that point will flip indeed. Orgless and Hungry now an opportunity to start controlling this objective and maybe take this map right here, right now.
But the problem is Fenzi is still in his Baby Diva form. Will get that mech hopefully going into this next team fight, because if they lose one more team fight, that is basically it here. Already 99% built up for Squid. They do have the blade good to go. They do have the Primal Rage, and considering on the other side, they do have the Coalescence to open things up. We will see the blade come out as well as the Sound Barrier, but no kills achieved so far. Cranks hunting for that one will not manage to find anything done. Sharp does have the Pulse Bomb. Nesh didn't get any kill, and Evoke getting the kill onto Facility could be what they need to once again swap that point in Squid's favor. And as the rest of the team collapses, we'll see Cranks eventually go down. Sharp gets the decent, however, and we will see the number advantage being built up for Squid. Veinless gets a double kill now with the Coalescence, and I just can't see how Orgless can really come back into this one.
And that play was actually brilliant again from Squid to get themselves into another situation where they're again favorable, and it looks like they will be able to mop this one up, because now as they're just trying to get aggressive, Cruz is taken down pretty low. It's up to Finzi now to try to turn things around, has the self-destruct going out, but Barrier now out for Decod, going to be able to protect them. Next getting back into position now as he's going ahead with bursting down Finzi. They're trying to re-engage off the back of this Coalescence, but there's the Pulse Bomb, going to take Tonic lower. And Nex is cleaning things up now as he already took down Finzi. They're still trying to trickle onto the point here. It's up to Nesh now to see if he can get anything done. He threw out the Pulse Bomb, doesn't find a kill though. And it's again going to be Cranks and Nex coming together, finding a ton of kills. Nesh falls, but I want to go back to that play real quick where we saw a ton of aggression coming out from Cranks as well as Decod. They unleashed the Blade, they threw the Sound Barrier out, and while they didn't really get any kills done, they were able to push out those supports. They took them completely out of the fight, and then followed up by a Primal Rage from Decod. They kept them out of the fight. That was huge because they were able to then start whittling down Finzi. They were able to start pulling apart, Visility as well, start focusing down Cruz, and with that, they were able to get control of the objective and start, getting that advantage that we saw set the pace, set the tone for that take.
Now that we'll be moving on to the final round of Oasis, this is going to be the one to decide it all, and Visility will go back to the Genji, swapping over from the Soldier eventually, and now that we'll see mirrored compositions, it's going to be close one to call. So far, definitely looking like Squid is not out of it just yet. Sharp, however, already forced to use that recall. It's going to be in a pretty bad spot. We'll look to go off from the sides. Once again, Cranks forced out of that high ground alongside Nex and Decod. They will clash in that middle section, the rest of the opposition. And so far, no real advantage on either side just yet.
Now Nex for the first kill. They get the first pick onto Tonic. Winston falling. That's a big opening for the rest of this to be cleaned up pretty easily. And Decod now taking advantage of that kind of pressing ground forward. As Visility comes through, they should easily be able to take that kill as well, especially with Decod and Sharp right there ready to rip him apart. So again, control going early to Squid.
And Nex, man, he's been an absolute beast on that D.Va. Definitely one of the more standout D.Va players in the Overwatch Pit Season 2. And now that we'll be moving on to this next team fight. Overall, in terms of those ultimates, it will be Nex opening up with a self-destruct, looking for a few picks or just to displace the opposition. Cruz being the first one to go down. Decod finds that kill, and with the Coalescence to support the rest of this dive, it should be eventually Squid once again winning it out, but Nex will be desuited, making things a little bit more difficult. Pulse Bomb will go down from Sharp. Doesn't get anything really done, and this could be a small window of opportunity for Orgless and Hungry as the suit is not yet available. Blade is gonna come out, finds that kill to open things up. Sound Barrier was used, but it is going to be a double kill. Cranks trying to answer with a blade of his own, finds the first kill, finds the second, but gets taken down by Tonic. And with this all-out brawl, who's gonna come out on top? Primal Rage now used by the likes of Decod as he will manage to find the kill onto Visility, looking for that Tracer. And Veinless will be going down to Finzi, and with these tanks on the point, self-destruct will come through. Doesn't find any kill. Will, however, assure that resuit. And Finzi, with the rest of his team, now still brawling it out on the point. We will see most of the Squid still regrouping and still building up that percentage.
It's taking so long for Orgless and Hungry to try to get a footing here, and in that time, we're seeing respawns coming back out. Decod staying alive in this situation is huge. It's going to allow the Coalescence to come back up, Veinless having that ready, and now self-destruct coming out very aggressively. I'm not sure about the timing on that one. Nex was trying to get a little Poco Bomb going for himself, but what a way to re-engage from Finzi. Veinless does have that Coalescence, could potentially hold this out, put some extra pressure onto Visility, who's already taken down low in that duel between that Genji as well as the Moira. Veinless getting the better end of that deal as Nex pulls back away. A ton of healing coming out now as Avokia really needs to pull out that Sound Barrier if they want to take this one. He throws it out, gets everybody but Sharp has already popped off in a big way, and now it's Cranks' turn with the Blade. 2 kills on the board here as it's Nesh trying to sustain once again. The overtime will tick, and a 100-0 as Squid does it again for a 4th time. 2-1 comeback.
Oh man, comeback kings indeed, as it was not only Sharp popping off this time around, of course, Cranks did pull his weight on that Genji, and next, of course, as stellar as ever on that Diva, they managed to secure once again another win to continue their hopes throughout the tournament. And with this final play of the game coming out of Nesh, or rather Sharp, we'll see what CIS Hope can do versus